a very high-level overview of what's going on in your business. To get a more detailed overview of the situation, there are two useful tools, very quick snapshots, but they give you quite useful information. So let's have a look at business snapshot first. If you go to here, this functionality will show you a summary of your expenditure and of your income. We are in the short-term cash flow module now. So this short-term cash flow will show you, it is based on the actual transactions that you had in the last couple of months. The system will pick the ones which are outstanding, the ones which you need to pay, and the expenses that you expect, the money due to you from your customers, and it will calculate the projected balance in the 30 days. So what is the summary telling us? It is telling us that today we have 1,700 in the bank, our customers owe us 300, and we need to pay over 2,000 in bills. That means we have a little problem because we are short of cash. We will not be able to pay our bills in 30 days time. So definitely this is something we need to look into. And here at the bottom you can see the details of invoices owed to you. We can see that in 1 week we are expecting 100 from this supplier, from this customer, and again we can drill down and see the details. In 2 weeks time we are expecting 200 from this customer. So perhaps we need to do something to get more cash, to get the money sooner, or perhaps definitely we need to do something with the bills we need to pay because we have over 2,000 in bills payment. This is a large amount, over 2,000. Perhaps we can negotiate with the supplier to extend the payment terms, but this tool allows us to have a glance, have a quick glance, and to identify any potential serious issues with payments and receipts with cash flow, okay? And this will allow you to take action in advance rather than waiting for the supplier to send you reminders to charge you penalties because you didn't pay, you didn't have enough money in the bank, okay? So the system is even suggesting us the actions to take. So from the 8,000 of overdue invoices we are expecting to receive, we can add expected days. That means when we are going to receive the money. So the system is telling us that even though only 300 is owed to us from invoices which are issued recently, which have been issued recently, we have over nearly 9,000 of invoices issued, and perhaps we can collect some money earlier from the customers. Then we can drill down into the details and see, okay, and review. Perhaps Bayside Club, oh, this one is big, Ridgeway University. Perhaps we can renegotiate with them and ask them to pay as soon as possible, right? Because these invoices are overdue already. So in general, this feature, it's really helpful. It's a very quick, it's not a complex cash flow forecast. There are other tools to prepare more detailed cash flow forecasts, but this one is a quick one, which will allow you to identify any potential serious issues instantly, okay? So let's move on to the business snapshot. The business snapshot is not so much about cash, it's more about profitability of the business. So here we choose the period which we want to look at. Let's say we want to look at this year to date, from January to date to the 10th of December. We change the period and the system is pulling data, Xero is pulling data from the accounting database, from the invoices that have been processed so far. And what is it telling us? It is telling us that this year we've made a profit of 3,122, which is pretty good, right? It can even compare this data with the prior period, with year 2019. The data is not here, that is why it is showing 0. But next year we will have the history for this year, and it will allow us to compare both periods, okay? So here a more detailed information to explain the profit. So our income, our revenue this year was 23,000, which is great. And then it is showing us the revenues month by month. We can see that the high jump the peak was in October. When we hover over it, it will give us more details. So in the period of October, we earned 12,000, which is pretty good. And then it started to slow down. Then in November, we earned less. And now we are earning very little. So there is something we need to do something about it, definitely, because our profitability is falling down by the end of the year. In the expenses, our expenses were 19, nearly 20,000 this year. And again, we can see the detailed graph, the trend throughout the year. And it also indicates that October was a particularly special month. We earned a lot, but we also spent a lot. So definitely we need to look at this month, but still we are in a profitable position, but the profits are falling by the end of the year. Okay. If we scroll down and we want to look at the expenses in more detail, it is also giving us the largest operating expenses in the period. So it is telling us that the largest expenses were on advertising. And we spent over 9,000 in advertising out of 19 or nearly 20 altogether. That's a significant part, okay? So perhaps we need to reconsider, maybe we should spend less because these expenses are not corresponding with the increase with the revenues, all right? So this is really guiding us, giving us hints at where, guiding us to where we should look for answers, where we should look for problems in our business. The next highest expense is rent, which is quite understandable. Usually when companies in general rent premises, the expense should be quite considerable, but there is a certain limit which shouldn't be exceeded. For instance, the rent cannot be half of the expenses. So this allows us to do a certain sense check if our expenses are reasonable. Again, in this section is our gross profit margin. So it's total revenues less direct costs. We can see that our margin is really high, which is very good. And at the bottom, we have a very high level overview of our financial position and cash. So it's just a summary of what was shown at the upper section. It will also show you the cash balance, the average time to get paid, and the average time to pay suppliers. We can see that something is wrong here. 1,000, nearly 2,000 days to pay the suppliers. That's very long. That means that there is a problem in the business because we are not paying our suppliers. And we need to look at the reasons why this is happening. Okay. So that's the business snapshot.